Okay, let's start. I prefer to give you a very brief explanation about thermal imaging technology to help you better understand how it works and what it can do. Before we move on to the product and solutions. As we know, we have a range of lights with different wavelengths in our living environment. Some of them attune to our eyes so we can see. We call them visible lights. Others could not be observed by human, but can still be recognized by machine sensors. Infrared radiation is one of them, which lies out of the visible light range. It comes from heat or thermal radiation. In reality, any object with temperature that is above absolutely zero will emit infrared radiation, including the human, animal, or even ice, almost everything we can touch and see in the world. In a thermal camera, lights hit a special lens which only allows the infrared to pass through while it blocks all the other lights. The bypass infrared hits the detector, translated into electric signal for image processing, and eventually create an image. So this is a brief introduction about the thermal technology. Now let's have a look at what thermal technology can be applied to and how does the market look like. Well, the technology-based global market, which reported in 2018, stated that there are two technologies for thermal imaging in the market, where we call them imaging cooled and imaging uncooled. So what are the differences? The cooled thermal imaging devices have their detectors stored in a unit that can cool them down to -100 degrees Celsius, which result in incredibly high resolution and sensitivity of the thermal image, but they are obviously more expensive and susceptible to wear and tear from use. On the other hand, a more common type of thermal imaging devices use uncooled technology can be operated under room temperature. They are relatively cost-effective and suit for most common applications. Hikvision is one of the vendors who are currently offering uncooled thermal technology camera, as well as cooled thermal imaging solutions that are being prepared. The capacity of the global market in 2018 was around $4,000 million, where the Pacific Rim region, including Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Islands, takes about 5% portion. So it's a big market. Some of you may question that what thermal camera can do and what applications are there. Well, the answer is there are plenty. From reporting 2018 again, you can tell there are a variety of applications that use thermal technology, from residential to commercial, from firefighting to security. So for today's introduction of Hikvision thermal solutions, we would focus on the applications of perimeter security and fire detection. So why using thermal technology for perimeter security, and what is the benefit? As we know, the technology today allows us to put cameras at very high resolution to monitor an area, and image quality can be crystal clear to view details on even a small piece. And the video analytics are great to provide accurate behavior detection like intrusion or line crossing in a clear day period. But what happened at night or in the environment that has insufficient lighting condition? The performance from traditional optical cameras can be dropped, even if you can turn on the IR and can still view some details in black and white. The view of the distance and video analytics would be still affected. As an example, a camera that can cover a 500 meters fence line during the daytime may be reduced to 200 meters at night, depending on the type of illumination being considered. Most of the intrusion event occurs during the nighttime, and they can cause huge loss of assets and serious consequences. In contrast, thermal camera copes with monitoring in all the environment, including the daytime and darkness. It also has many other advantages. We would cover them in later slides. Another safety and security concern is fire. Industrial fire and explosions cost companies and governments billions of dollars every year. Here we do not mention the loss of life, which can't be described. A fire in a high-risk area can be a disaster for both personnel, people in general area and environment. Thermal imaging can help to discover those potential fire incidents and alert in advance. Here is an overview of the thermal solution that we're going to cover today: perimeter security and fire detection by temperature measurements. Let's start with the perimeter security first. VCA, or video content analysis, is the key factor that is used for perimeter security, which allows you to set area or lines for intrusion detection. With the help of the AI deep learning technology, the camera can focus on human or vehicle only, reducing false alarms that could caused by, for example, animals and other objects. Please be aware that the video analytics are processed by thermal imaging of the camera only. The normal optical optical channel of the camera won't do any VC events. Here is an example of the intrusion detection in a backyard of property, as it is showing the person triggers the intrusion area, turning the area into red color, while dog stay in the area, but it won't trigger. You can set the time threshold that target could stay inside the area before it get alerts. It also shows the trajectory of the movement of target to help you better analyze the whole process of the intrusion event. Accuracy is one of the main advantages of using thermal camera for VC events, as it does not require ambient light. Moreover, thermal imaging allows you to see further and can still return a very accurate detection result. This is an example of the perimeter security setup for a fence line at nighttime. It records images from both optical and thermal channel of the bispectrum thermal camera. You can tell that the person is not observable in optical channel at night, but is posed clearly in the thermal channel, where you can monitor the whole process of the intrusion event, even when the person is far from the camera. The result is pretty accurate. Another advantage of thermal camera is it is less susceptible to environment change, like light interference, smoke environment, or smoke, rain, or fog weather, etc. These are the two examples explain how well a thermal camera can do. Let's have a look at the first one. This video is captured at nighttime, pointing to a vehicle with flashing headlight. Both of the video comes from the same bispectrum thermal camera. The flashing light of the vehicle makes difficult to view the behavior of the person, especially when the person is behind the vehicle, right? While on the other hand, the thermal view is completely different. It is unaffected by the ambient light, providing a clear view of the image. The second one is a performance test of a thermal camera under smoke condition. The top view is a fisheye camera, which gives you an overview of the environment. The bottom images are again from a bispectrum camera. As you can see, when smoke comes out and start to fill into the room, you could hardly to see what happens inside the room through the optical view. But the thermal view is really affected, providing a better visual image to inspect what's going on inside the premises. And the impact of the smoke is reduced hugely. Thermal camera are rapidly becoming the perimeter security solution of choice for securing outdoor assets, whether for small range applications like protecting entryways or car parks, or securing large premises around energy, utility, or even transportation assets. Thermal camera paired with video analytics offer an accurate detection solution that provides automatic notification in real time. Here are some typical scenarios that use thermal solution. For example, in car park, thermal camera can monitor to alert theft behavior, such as stealing vehicle tires, vehicle rims, or even the whole vehicle at night by setting up intrusion area. The camera also emits to headlights of the vehicle, so it could still see when the headlight is hitting the camera. Warehouse normally has longer boundaries to monitor and its lack of lighting condition during nighttime. So to protect the property at night, the site is recommended to monitor by the thermal camera, which can cover long area, long range, and work perfectly in no light condition. Port processes a diverse mix of cargo from ships or vessels to trucks or trains, and vice versa, operating continuously during the day and night all year round. So security infrastructure must be regardless of weather and lighting conditions. Thermal camera can be fit here to help to monitor and control the access from, for example, pedestrians, vehicles, railways, and even the sea routes of the vessels, and send alarms to the security operation for response. Let's have a look at some successful cases. This one is the solar farm burglary protection in Italy. Since there is no supplementary light at night, we put thermal camera to send real-time alert when people break into the premises. As you can see, even the person is far from the camera, it still triggers the intrusion alarm. Just wait a second. Yeah, see, it triggers alarm. The line crossing turns red. So it's quite sensitive. The second case is in New South Wales, implementing our thermal smart linkage system, which contains a thermal bullet for intrusion detection and PTZ for tracking. In this scenario, when entered vehicle is picked up by the thermal camera, the PTZ will pointing and zoom into that location where the vehicle is, then start to track it. This is a purely automatic process. So those are the features and solutions about perimeter security with thermal cameras. Let's take a look at the product showcase. Here we introduce our new affordable 160 series of thermal products, where the resolution is 160 by 120, and focal length is lying between 2 mils and 10 mils. This series comes with thermal-only camera as well as bispectrum cameras on both bullet and turret shape, with improved AI algorithm to dealing with false alarms, and is ideal for perimeter security for human detection that is up to 70 meters. For longer VC detection distance, consider our next up product range, which provides higher thermal resolution and longer focal length. The bispectrum 2637 and 2667 series support up to 350 meters of VC detection for human. The thermal-only 2336 and 2366 series camera support up to 750 meters with longer thermal length for VC detection of human. The thermal smart linkage system contains one thermal bullet and one optical PTZ camera that it can be this can be a package product or choose separately. As you have seen in previous case sharing, a detected VC event will trigger the PTZ to track the target. We also offer positioning system 6267 series and stable PTZ 8167 series that can reach even further and cover more area by the characteristics of the PTZ. The PTZ 8167 series offers varifocal lengths on both thermal and optical channel to be applicable to monitor from hundreds meters to 1,000 meters away. The optional laser module ensures the performance of the optical channel in a completely dark environment up to 3 kilometers away. The bottom video you can see here is an example of the thermal PTZ camera that is monitoring a metro area. Similar to a normal optical PTZ, the thermal channel of this camera is also varifocal. And when it zooms in, you can view more details about the target. This chart provides a reference guideline for product selection of perimeter security solution. The guideline can divide into 4 steps. Step 1, you can determine product range roughly based on the application scenario. And for some special environment, we can offer anti-corrosion exterior coating for the camera. And we also have explosion-proof product range. Step 2, you should know what operational requirements are. Do you need tracking or patrolling for any particular reason or just for fixed monitoring? Is there any requirement such as privacy protection is required? If that's the case, you can consider the thermal camera without the optical channel. Otherwise, a bispectrum camera can be very helpful for collecting the visual evidence. Step 3, you should know the type of target, whether it's for human detection or for vehicle or others. And then what distance is required. Step 4, you probably can choose your preferred thermal resolution when all the requirements are met in the previous steps. So you should put them all together to finalize your product selection. We strongly recommend to use our thermal design tool, which can be accessed from our website for simulating the thermal coverage. This tool can be very handy to help you choose the right thermal camera to suit your applications. Okay, we have finished the introduction of the perimeter security part. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask them through the chat window. Now let's move on to the second solution. Thermal imaging can also be used in various fire monitoring and fire alarms by using the characteristics of temperature sensitivity. The first video is a process of heating up a water kettle. Think the water is heated from the bottom. More infrared radiation is emitted comparing to the top initially. We can tell it's from observing the changing color pattern in the kettle area from the image. from the video, which tell you how heat is distributed and varies in real time. The second video is a temperature monitoring for transformers. You can set the temperature on spot, line, or area of the interesting locations, and could alert you immediately when those monitored temperature is above the preset value. Since thermal imaging relies on IR radiation or heat, the result of temperature monitoring could be influenced by sunlight or other unexpected heat sources appearing in your monitored area, which in turn could cause false alarms. For example, in electrical substation scenario, sunlight can be reflected by metal material and can be captured by the thermal camera directly, which could result high temperature than normal. Or heat that is generated by vehicle engine can be over your preset temperature threshold of your monitored area. So when that vehicle passes into the area, false alarm can occur, right? So these are the two typical and most common false alarms that we might face to, but they can be eliminated by AI algorithm of the camera. To counteract the impact of the reflected sunlight, it relies on the optical channel from a bispectrum thermal camera, which could identify the sunlight and simply let the thermal channel ignore it. To handle the vehicle engine heat scenario, the thermal camera itself recognizes and ignores the heat from the vehicle engine. Fire detection is the application that extended from temperature measurements, where it focuses on detecting and alerting active fires or hotspot before it ignites. The first video shows a simulated fire event by heating up a water kettle. Once temperature of spot in this monitored area is detected over 70 degrees, it could be considered as a potential fire spot. Then an auto alarm is triggered. The second video is a test of fire detection by igniting a lighter. As you can see, a fire is almost picked up instantly by the camera after the lighter ignites. The green box on the right-hand side, on the middle of the screen, is a monitoring region for normal temperature checking, which is not affected while the fire is detected. This showed the detection, temperature detection, and fire detection and temperature measurements can operate at the same time. Thermal camera is optimal for security and recognition of fires inside, for example, electrical utilities, bush, rubbish tips, manufacturing warehouse, and combustible power, etc. Fire incidents can be caused by human negligence or spontaneous combustion of flammable materials or dumping hot coal or ash, and so on. Thermal camera that is configured with temperature threshold can detect the heat, which should not be present, and provide operators with real-time notification of a risk. Okay, here are the two cases for sharing. The first one is an example of the fire prevention in waste transfer station in WA, using a thermal-only body camera that monitors multiple areas, returning the maximum, minimum, and an average temperature for each area. When temperature is over a certain level, potential fire might occur, an alert would be generated instantly. The second case happens in the coal mining industry. A bispectrum thermal body camera monitors the storage room of the workshop to alert when coal is beyond a certain temperature before it ignites. Now we finish introduction of the fire detection solution with thermal cameras. Let's move on to the product showcase. The new affordable 160 series camera here is also capable of measuring temperature for fire detection with a plus or minus 8 degrees of accuracy and up to 150 degrees of maximum detection range. The bispectrum model could eliminate the false alarm that caused by the reflected sunlight and vehicle heat engine with the help of the AI technology. The 384 series camera comes with higher thermal resolution and a longer detection range, but has same temperature accuracy and upper limit of the temperature that it can measure. For more accurate measuring and higher temperature upper limit, consider the T product series, which provides plus or minus 2 degrees of the temperature accuracy and up to 550 degrees of the maximum detection temperature. The PTZ and positioning system works for longer range and large area temperature monitoring. The TA21 Cube camera is applied to fire prevention purpose in for example, electrical systems and industrial automation system that have less space to place a camera. So you can mount this cube camera behind the door inside the cabinet to monitor the temperature of the circuitries inside. So here is another reference guideline for product selection of temperature measurement and fire detection solution. This guideline is divided into 5 steps. Step 1, pretty similar to perimeter security solution. You can determine the product range based on the application. So those 3 listed product ranges are reference only. It can be very flexible according to the real scenario. Step 2, you should know what the temperature accuracy is, what maximum temperature detection limit you need. Please keep in mind, temperature measurement and fire detection are not conflict. They can work together. So you might have a scenario that require a high accuracy camera to monitor target's operating temperature at one area, plus alerting another area that could potentially get burned. Step 3, you should know whether you need tracking or patrolling or just monitor at the fixed distance and direction. Normally, this is determined by the scenario, like where you're going to put the camera, how big the coverage is, and is it worth to put multiple fixed lens camera or just alternatively using one PZ camera with patrolling. Next step, this is particularly important for fire detection, as you need to choose the right lens to recognize the hotspot. The size of the fire hotspot cannot be too small according to the thermal view of the camera. Minimum size of the fire should be 5 by 5 pixel. And the detection range for different lengths of cameras varies. So please check them in the product datasheet. Step 5, same as perimeter security solution. If all requirements are met and you have flexibility to choose different thermal resolution, then it could be really depend on whether you want to add additional values to the project. Because comparing to the 384 series, the 640 series provide higher resolution, which means more field of view it can provide and more detailed thermal image it can provide. Again, thermal design tool is highly recommended. You can access the tool from our website. All right, here we have concluded 6 FAQs. Let's go through them together. The first one, what is the VC detection range for a human? The VC detection for a human ranges from 40 meters with a 2 mil thermal lens and up to 2.3 kilometers with a 230 mil thermal lens that comes from a PSA camera. We recommend you use the thermal design tool, which is online, for simulating the thermal coverage. Next question, does camera support alarm output? The answer is yes. It's a contact relay output that is configurable to be triggered by the event, such like intrusion and line crossing. Next question, how many channels are included per thermal camera? I think most of you guys already know the answer. Thermal camera only camera contains one IP address with one channel, while the bispectrum thermal camera takes one IP address with 2 channels. So if you want to add a bispectrum camera to an NVR, you can occupy 2 channels on the NVR. Next question, does optical channel of the thermal camera support VCA? The answer is no, only the thermal channel are gonna support VCA detection. Optical channel won't do any VCA stuff, but it can help to eliminate false alarms by AI algorithm. Next question, does VCA information and temperature alarm be pushed to the NVR side? The answer is yes. We recommend to use the I-series NVR with firmware 4.22 above for receiving the alarm notification. VCA and temperature information are going to be overlaid onto the video stream and pushed to the NVR side. Last question, is the accuracy of the Hikvision thermal imaging product certified? Yes, Hikvision has been awarded CMPP certified certification for thermal products as a heat detection system. Now is the Q&A session. I pass it to our colleague Cecil, who is able to handle all your live questions. Thanks, Cecil. I pass the microphone to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending this webinar. So I'll help Ming to answer those questions you have been asked during this webinar. So we got a couple of questions. So I selected a couple of them and to answer you. The first one is what is the range of the thermal detection at night over a long perimeter fence or similar situation? So the answer, as I just introduced, so we have different product family, comes with a different lens selection from 2 millimeter lens and up to 200 millimeter lens. So the detection range could come from 10 meter to 2.3 kilometers away. And if you care about the exact coverage of the thermal camera, this will be related to the installation height and the installation angle. So we strongly recommend you to use our Hikvision thermal selection tool, design tool, to simulate the situation and find the real coverage. That's the first question. And the second one has been asked is that do we have a mobile thermal camera which could be mounted on a vehicle? So the answer is yes, we do have this kind of camera which would allow you to mount a vehicle system and monitor temperature and tag it. That could be on our website. And the other question is, do this camera has can they replacement for the smoke detectors? So for this one, unfortunately, we don't have exact fair certification. We do have some temperature accuracy certification, but it's not for fair certification right now. And so we only suggest we use thermal as a replacement, as a help for the fair detection system. It's not to replace the smoke detector, but could help improve the accuracy and help the system. Okay, those are the questions being asked.
Thanks, Cecil, for your contribution to answering those questions. We're going to put all the question and answers to this PowerPoint and share the link with you later. Here is a Hikvision Smart Try program starting right now. We offer a special price on the 4 models of thermal cameras as listed here. Pricing is available from our national distributors. Those are the Hikvision official Oceania distributors on this page. So please choose your preferred one according to your regions. This is our Hikvision Oceania team. We have BDMs across Australia, New Zealand, and Pacific Island region. Feel free to contact them for your inquiry. Don't worry, we're gonna share this PowerPoint with you anyway, so you can have a check back later. We have quite a few people who have already taken the survey with us. Thank you again for your support. For the rest of you guys, if you get a chance, please take the survey by scanning the QR code here and get the chance to win the prize. We're gonna contact the winner directly. That is pretty much we can deliver today. I hope it will be informative for you, and thank you for all your patience. Cheers.